When a young boy was adopted in southeastern Ohio, he was welcomed into a vibrant and nourishing family home. It was the perfect place to raise a child, but along the way, something went wrong. Very wrong.
What do you want them to put in there? Or hold him for what? Questioning is in reference to
suspect of murder.
Suspect of murder.
It all started with a fire in the family home, but would soon turn into something much more sinister after firefighters made a gut-wrenching discovery amongst the burning wreckage.
And Trevor said that he saw Lionel with a knife and making a cutting motion on Diane's neck.
Yeah.
Horrible, man. Them kids will never get over this.
No. Well, that one, the 6-year-old, that'll be traumatizing for us for his life. But luckily, I think those other kids are only like 1 and 2.
They said there were 6 total.
So 6 total up here?
Ages from like 1 to 13.
Before we begin, we would like to extend our deepest sympathies to the Gore family for their loss. Diane Gore lived in New Matamoros, Ohio, and although she didn't live in the most exclusive neighborhoods, she worked hard to provide her adopted son Lionel with a healthy and happy upbringing. She lived near her sister, Stephanie, who had children of her own, so Lionel had plenty of loving family members to turn to if he ever got into trouble or needed help. But it was when Lionel became a teenager that problems really started, and as he got older, he became more and more unruly. By the time Lionel was 34 years old, he was hopelessly addicted to narcotics, and his relationship with Diane had completely deteriorated. It was on November 5th, 2021, Diane's 6-year-old nephew Trevor was visiting her house with 2 other young relatives when Lionel and Diane got into an argument. Lionel told the 3 children to go play hide and seek, so they all went to hide in different rooms of the house. Trevor didn't stay hidden for long and walked into the master bedroom where he found Lionel attacking Diane. Despite only being 6 years old, Trevor was smart enough to recognize the danger, and he rounded up the 2 other children and escaped the house. He ran the short distance to his home on Brownsville Road and told his mother Stephanie what he had seen. Fearing for her sister's life, Stephanie raced over to Diane's house where she found Lionel attempting to flee the scene. Lionel forced his way past Stephanie and warned her not to stop him or he'd kill her next. But he'd given Stephanie something else to worry about when she saw smoke billowing from inside the house. While Stephanie tried to make her way into the house, Lionel made his escape in his mother's car, leaving Stephanie to tackle the fire all alone. The smoke and flames were too much, and she was forced to retreat and call 911, even though she knew her sister Diane was still inside. As first responders raced to 130 Cemetery Road, they assumed that they were going to put out a fire. But after they spoke to Stephanie, they realized it was a case of arson and could be an attempt to cover up a brutal and violent crime.
So you've lived here for how long?
Pretty much all my life.
Okay. And Diana
Is my sister.
your sister. Okay.
She's lived up there for years. How many years has she lived up there?
Years.
Years. I can't tell you how many years.
Was Lionel living there?
No.
So Lionel was not living there.
No.
Where was Lionel living at?
We don't know.
Homeless in New Martinsville, on the
Homeless in
streets of
yeah.
drugs.
Okay. Well, so did he just show up today?
No, he's been up there off and on.
Okay.
He was down here at my house earlier today.
Okay.
It's his mother, so he's in and out. No matter what he's done,
Or whatever.
he comes in, she feeds him, and then she doesn't want him around very much because he's always stoned and on drugs. But she's his mother, and she always made sure he was fed. And then when he'd come in, and he'd be stoned out of his mind, and he'd stay there for a couple of days till he got himself together, and she'd feed him, and then he'd leave.
So how long would you say he has been up there this time?
Not for a couple of days. Just a couple
Just a
of
couple
days.
of days.
Okay. So he went there to get food and...
Probably. I mean, she feeds her kid, you know. I mean, he went there and...
Food and money. Did she ever give him money?
No,
No.
she's against giving him money.
That's probably
for
why.
years.
That's probably why the situation happened.
We didn't believe in giving them money for years because of the drugs. they could come and eat. They were welcome to come in and eat, and they leave.
Okay.
In order to help police understand who they were dealing with, Stephanie dived into the history of the Gore family and how the relationship between Lionel and Diane had become so strained over the years that he barely stayed in the house anymore, only visiting when he needed something. But the last time she saw him, it was only a couple of days earlier, and Stephanie noticed he was high on narcotics and becoming completely unhinged.
Told me that her and the kids is coming down here in a little bit. So I said, okay, and this is probably about 5:30. And she never did make it down here.
On the night of November 5th, Stephanie didn't seem worried that Diane and the kids hadn't shown up for dinner. That was until she saw 6-year-old Trevor racing toward the house, and she knew something terrible had happened.
And I was just expecting her to come down. Well, Trevor came running down the road. And he came coming running down the road, and I seen him. And he just ran into the house, and I never got to see him. But he came into the house, and Levi was here, and Mom, and he told Levi and Mom that Lionel was up there and killing his grandma. Levi came out to the door, because I was right over there by the fence, and I walked over to see if Diane was like following behind him, because I never heard her hollering for him or nothing, because I knew the other 2 kids was up there, and I thought maybe they was just walking down, and they wasn't there. And Levi comes running out, and he says, hollered over there, he says, Mom, he said, Trevor's here, and Lionel's up there, and he said that Lionel was going to kill Grandma. Well, I didn't hesitate, and I just started running up to the house, and I got up there, and the kids, I didn't see the kids at that time, so I was looking, and I opened up the door, and Lionel came at the door, and he looked at me, and he hit me up alongside the head and told me, "You bitch, get away from me, get out of here, get out of here." I said, "No, where's my sister at?" He said, "She's not here." I said, "Where's she at, Lionel?" He said, "She's not here." And he hit me up alongside the head and like pushed me off the porch. And I tried to, and then I walked around the house, and he followed me around the house. I said, "Where the hell's your mom at, Lionel? Where's she at?" And he got down on his hands and knees, acting like he was praying and everything else, and wouldn't talk to me or say nothing. And about that time, I seen the smoke rolling out of the windows, and I knew that he went and I knew that he caught the house on fire.
2 hands and knees.
And started praying, and asked me if I knew what the Lord's Prayer was and all that stuff, and then I seen the smoke running out, and I went back up through there and went to go in the house, and I couldn't even get in the house. I got down on my hands and knees and thought that maybe I could see something too, and I couldn't see nothing because she wasn't around there. I was just about got into the kitchen where the countertop is, and I had to come back out because it was too smoky, and I couldn't get in there to her.
Things didn't get any better when Stephanie arrived at Diane's house to be met by a frantic Lionel.
So did Lionel say anything else to you when you came out of the house?
He was there. I went and was pushed him, kind of.
You asked him where your sister was?
I asked him where my sister was, and I was trying to get into the house, and he was pushing me out.
And what did he say to you?
And he says, "Get the fuck out of here, Stephanie, get the fuck out of here. She's not here."
Did he have anything in his hands?
No.
The more they investigated, the more officers believed they had a case of arson on their hands, and the only suspect at this point was Lionel Gore. But there was a problem. Police had no way of knowing where he could be, and no idea where to start looking. That was until a friend of the family named Heather claimed she had information that could help bring Lionel into custody.
I want the little boy back. What's that?
I know where Lionel is.
Where's he at?
Come with me.
Okay.
Here?
Is he up here?
Nope.
No?
Nope.
Well, where is he?
I don't want them people to hear me talking because.
His brother always said he's over at the village in Martinsville.
Yeah.
They're
Okay.
in Martinsville on their way, so
Yeah.
Jason's giving us all the information. His buddies are calling him saying, hey, he's over here.
Well, and
They're
I
trying
got-
to keep an eye on him.
Well, and I know where he's at the villas right now, but he's also headed up to the Julie apartments up there where Heather lives.
Who's Heather?
Heather MacGyver, she's a family friend. She's been a friend of the family for years and years and years. She's the one that called me and said, she called me and said, Brian, she said, what the fuck's going on? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not up there, but this is all I got. So she's like, well, Lionel called me and said he's on his way here.
And where's Sheila at?
In that Jubilee Apartments, I believe.
The fact that Heather was a family friend didn't mean she was out of harm's way. If Lionel was capable of such a sickening crime against his own mother, then he could be capable of anything, and officers knew they had to find Lionel before he found Heather.
Hey, it's Loretta. The family members just got word that Lionel is actually on his way. It's a Heather MacGyver, and I've got her phone number.
He knows that,
We're looking for him.
well,
Oh,
he don't know we're looking for him, but right behind her house is the high river.
Gotcha.
And he has easy access to that.
okay,
So there's a railroad track down there, so
Okay.
he knows that way out.
okay.
Officers knew he had crossed or was about to cross the state line, so they called on the sheriff's office in Wetzel County to help, meaning Lionel would have 2 different police departments in 2 different states working together to catch him before he made it to his destination. While patrol cars raced to apprehend Lionel in West Virginia, firefighters back at the crime scene finally managed to extinguish the flames, ready to start a search of the house.
Look at my guy. What's the best way in, Trav? What's the best way in there to it?
What's that?
Which way is the best way for the deputy to get in there?
Probably the only way is that door back there.
They said she's in the back bedroom. What about? Where's the victim?
I'm not sure. I just came in the store.
Where's it at? Which way to get there? Get far over in this corner. Rod. Well, it's definitely in this. Get far over in this corner. Get far here in this wall. Yeah. We ain't going here. You ain't dragging it over there.
457. One of the family members finds me at Wetzel County
Okay.
with him in their town. Can you advise OFP in case he comes back over on the river?
You want a light set up here, shine in there? Or?
Yeah, if you guys could, without disturbing anything. Yeah, they got her up here in the back bathroom where everybody said she'd be. She's definitely deceased. They're not going to disturb her. There's a fire hose pretty close to her. They're trying not to run it over, but there's still fire in the house, so.
At the same time, Lionel was driving across West Virginia, but instead of escaping to freedom, he was met by police units from the Wetzel County Sheriff's Department. Even though he was outnumbered, Lionel wasn't ready to hand himself in, so he led police on a highly dangerous pursuit. During the chase, Lionel managed to damage several patrol cars, but he lost control and crashed, bringing the pursuit to a dramatic end. Lionel was in need of medical attention after the accident and was sent to the Wetzel County Hospital, which meant detectives knew they had to wait for the doctors to see him before they could ask any questions, especially against someone who had taken him in and treated him like one of their own children. Lionel didn't just kill his adoptive mother, he had done the unimaginable to her body after death. He'd grabbed a knife from a drawer in the kitchen and tried to cut off Diane's head, but he realized it wasn't sharp enough to do the job, so he picked a larger knife with a serrated blade and cut away until he severed Diane's head from her neck. Lionel then placed her head next to the body as if it were some kind of trophy. It's not clear how much of this was witnessed by 6-year-old Trevor, but he saw enough to know he needed to get help, and fast, although he could do nothing to save his aunt, and if those knives were still in the house, they could be a vital piece of evidence.
Rod with the fire department told me, he said when they first made entry in here, there was a kitchen drawer right on the left-hand side. He pointed out to me, he said it was wide open, full of kitchen knives.
Okay. You saw it?
He showed me which drawer it was, but it's closed now.
Okay.
But he said it was open. He said that it was wide open when they were making entry.
It's just in here on the left someplace?
Yeah, I can show you where it's at if you want.
Okay. Yeah, give me just a second here.
I didn't touch it. I didn't open it, look or anything.
Do you know who closed it? Or did it just kind of happen as it...
knocked shut. Now,
yeah.
The one next to it.
Okay, awesome. I appreciate you letting me know. You said it was full of kitchen knives?
That's what Rod said.
Okay, I'll let the detectives know. I don't know if the weapon's still here or not, or if he took it with him.
You guys find him yet?
Yeah, he's in custody. He's in custody right now. West Virginia. Uh-huh. Of course, that's not saying much. He's just in New Martinsville. He didn't make it very far.
Horrible, man. Them kids will never get over this.
No. Well, that one, the 6-year-old, that'll be traumatizing for the rest of his life. But luckily, I think those other kids are only like 1 and 2.
They said there are 6 total.
So 6 total up here?
Ages from like 1 to 13.
Oh man, I only heard about 4 of them.
I only heard 3. And then I was talking to my colleagues that are on the squad. They said, no, there's 6. We got like 6 refusals.
Wow. Okay.
And did you talk to any of them kids yet?
Yeah, I talked to all the ones that could talk anyway.
Like described in very detail what happened.
Oh, Trevor, yeah.
I don't know which one it was.
He was in the ambulance.
Yeah.
Yeah, I talked to him.
Okay.
Yeah, his mom and his grandma helped me ask him questions that he understood. So yeah, he had a pretty, because he saw it all. He saw the whole thing. So
it's horrible, man.
Yeah.
With the fire extinguished and the crime scene secure, the investigation could turn its attention to the main suspect in the case, Lionel Gore. Detective Sergeant Scott Smeeks and Detective Lieutenant Brian Lockhart were sent to question Lionel as he recovered in the hospital. He didn't say much at first, other than he was adopted, therefore he didn't consider Diane to be his real mother. But his behavior changed altogether when he took a bathroom break, when he returned and sat down on the hospital bed and admitted to killing his mother. He told Detective Lockhart that, "I cut her head off and set her on fire." Lionel was taken to the county jail where he would face charges of 1 count of aggravated murder in the death of Diane Gore, 4 counts of aggravated arson, 3 counts of endangering children, 1 count of tampering with evidence, and 1 count of abuse of a corpse. A month after his arrest, Lionel would plead not guilty by reason of insanity, and he would have to undergo a psychological evaluation. The evaluation did find him fit to stand trial in Washington County, Ohio in October of 2022, where he was looking at spending a long time behind bars if he was found guilty. Lionel accepted a plea deal. If he pleaded guilty to the count of aggravated murder, the other charges would be dropped. At his sentencing, he had to face members of his own family, including 6-year-old Trevor, who was so traumatized from the event that he couldn't appear in person. Even so, he made a statement to be read out to the judge, in which he begged, "Please keep him in jail so we can be safe. Ask him to do it for me, please." Another relative took the stand and told Lionel, "You tore our family apart. Do you have any shame?" Lionel refused to apologize for his crime and seemed to show no remorse for his actions. He was sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 25 years.